It looks really, really smart. Valkyrie, no surprise to be taken away. And the Castle, another one of those that just leaves the map that little bit more open for the defensive side here. Rogue, a team that sometimes enjoy playing that on maps like Bank, but here on Border, do not want to be utilizing it.
It will come as absolutely no surprise that the majority of the crowd here is behind Rogue. I've been struggling to find Faze fans in the EU crowd, but
we had one at the
we've had one
earlier.
or two. There is certainly one or two here, and I am sure you know, they will be making themselves heard for every one of Faze's successes as well. But this is it. We've been waiting a week, Des. We've watched a lot of games on the way here. We've had a lot of entertainment, unbelievable moments so far. And we're going to have plenty more coming over the next few hours. We get into our best of 5. First map, it's Border, it's Faze, it's Rogue.
I spoke about Ying being banned away and it may be removing some of the creative attacks that we see, but Faze go, Des, shut up, you know what you're talking about. They've got the Amaru on side and currently got Cameraman sitting on the Sens. We've barely seen Sens played throughout Stage 2, let alone the Major itself, but they're just... It's the power of that operator is so selective. It's more the surprise factor, I feel, against the attackers where it stings. Looking over to the side of Rogue, they don't have tons to deal with it. There's no impacts on side. There's no bulletproofs, for example. Those are the kind of things that you would lean into to ensure that you can shut down that light screen and make sure the attackers don't have full cover to come pushing through. But we'll keep a close eye on Cameraman as he could be the difference maker in this round.
Astro straight away with the E1D scan as soon as the push starts coming in. Cyber, he manages to take out Crying, possibly an attempted peek there, just going to be punished. It may well have been. His position was exposed by that E1D scan, but whichever it was, we're going to be without the Mozzie for Rogue this time around. The Pests were already out there, so it's not the end of the world. That utility is still going to be doing its job through the round, making it difficult for them to chase through with all that information. First nade goes in, no damage. Astro's going to be sending... The flash bangs in, unsuccessful jump out coming out from Leon as well, and there's a diffuser going down here, Des.
Soldier's come up through the security hatch. Yep, he's inside a sight, and Cyber is the Terminator in this round. Kanto puts him down, but Faze, what a first round. Excellent focus on that execute, making use of the Garahawk from down inside Workshop, as I say, up into sight with the send screen coming across. Very well orchestrated.
Into sight, start getting that diffuser down. And that's an interesting point that Faze highlight for us there, Des. Looking at the tournament so far, we've had a lot more planting coming out of Faze, about 50% more than Rogue of getting that diffuser down on the ground. And I think that's something we can expect to see continuing today.
It's just a direct-to-site focus, and this is something several teams throughout the competition haven't learned against these roam-heavy teams, is you don't have to full clear the map every single time. You can focus on getting outside the building, outside the building, focus on getting inside the building with just the minimal amount of control that you actually require, and then hitting site hard. Look at Faze in that round there. Once they got in through double door, they were straight inside a workshop, and everyone else was playing outside, either downstairs making use of the Gara hook, up on sandwich window. They didn't really care about Spoit at the top of main stairs and just cleaned up from there. So not really giving Rogue much wiggle room to work with there out on the roam, despite having that Mute, Mozzie and Oryx combo that we saw in the prior round.
Bathroom Tellers is going to be the next site for Rogue. They're going to move on, not wanting to double down on Armory, having lost it. And we see again that combo coming out from them as defenders that we're going to expect a lot of mobility from. Crying, we need more from this round on the Vigil. We've spoken about this operator before. Keeps himself off the drones with his gadget, can remove his visual signature so they're not seeing him, but he's got to stay alive because he's bringing nothing else for the team. He needs to waste time, needs to find kills. Crying this time already longer than last time, so we're at least getting somewhere.
Yeah, and already you've got the Forest drone starting to roam on through in towards Bathroom and Tellers. They're not looking for any shields that may be set up. There is, of course, one from Kanto that they'll be searching for. Just removing away those early bits of utility. And unsurprisingly, you've got all of Rogue playing off around the map. One in Fountain, one in Office, a couple hanging out as well towards the west side of the map. Just looking for those early engagements as Astro does find one back onto Leon inside Events.
It was well played by Astro, got indecisively knowing that he could probably find that trade and the Oryx taken down. So it just removes a lot of unpredictability out of the round for Faze Clan. But Deepak right now, he's on that window. He's looking for the rappel here. He's looking for the jump out. He just wants to do some damage. Rogue wanting to make sure, I think, that the message is sent to Faze. And Cyber, he's going to find a kill onto Crying. Once again, same as last round, knows exactly where Deepak is playing. He has to get out of there and does, but takes a lot of damage in the meantime.
It's really nice from Cyber there, pushing down the hallway as well. Deepak still expected him to be outside on the balcony, so Crying wasn't 100% sure, but he finds Cameraman elsewhere anyway. Down to that 3 3 versus 3. Things looking much better for Rogue in round 2.
It's almost like the tactic here for Rogue is going to have to be avoid Cyber, kill everybody else, and just leave Cyber in as difficult a position as we can. We've seen he's been one of the best players at the tournament so far, but Kanto Raketti manages to find the kill onto him, taking the Finker down and leaving us now in a 3v2 for Rogue.
Ignored inside the fountain there. Kanto takes a couple of shots on his retreat back as well, but comes in on the backside and finds him. Down to that 2v2. We've seen so many of these big clutch situations out of Rogue over the last couple of days, but can they hold on now that they've lost sight?
This is it. Rogue pushed way back into Customs. We've got Faze with support above. That's the big thing. Souls is in a position to cover here. Astro takes time away from putting that diffuser down to get himself a kill
C4.
first, knowing that Deepek's coming. C4 goes out. Wrong location, though. Astro still alive, but shut down. That's big from Spoides because that puts the diffuser down on the ground. Souls, he drops down. He does manage to grab it, but it means that Spoit knows exactly where he is. Challenge comes in, and Rogue, they take their first round to tie things up 1-1.
18 years old, first major, and still saying, hush now, hush now. Big show from Spoid as well, a 1v2. The last one, the 1v1, coming up against Souls, a player that we repeatedly say is the clutch guard around the globe when it comes to Siege. But Spoid's showing there might be a new sheriff in town, Tim.
Oh, it's no easy feat going up against Souls in those late round positions. We know how deadly he is, how consistent he is, but as you say, Spoit had a little bit of an advantage there because he knew that he was going to have drop down. It was a good guess that Astro would have had the diffuser, would have been looking to plant, so he knows that the push is going to likely be coming from the same position. Spoit uses that information fantastically, as he always does. It's something that Spoit does so well. When he's got that little bit of information, he will get every drop of advantage out of it that he can. So we move into round 3 then. Rogue going to go back upstairs to Armory here, Des, choosing not to go to one of the other downstairs sites. They do still have 2 available, but they think they can do a little bit better. I think Faze came in awfully aggressive, awfully quickly, and I think Rogue now are happy that the wind's been taken out of their sails a little bit, and they can go back to a more standard defensive Armory.
Well, Faze have just slightly tweaked their setup here as well. It's something I clocked in their Oregon game yesterday when they were back on the defense, so it's a little bit different, but no 2 rounds were the same. They'd always just move slightly where the Romans were playing. They'd change the odd reinforcement. They'd open up different head height shotgun holes around the map, just to keep W7M guessing, okay, what are we facing this round? What new trick have they got up their sleeve for us? And here what Faze have done is actually gone towards a lineup that looks far more in towards playing into that roam game with the Lion and the DKB on side. You're then looking towards Caraman on that sense for the execute later into the round. So still leaning on one of the tools from the previous round, so it's not massively dissimilar, but a big focus in terms of how they play the early round is going to be different to last time.
A little bit of a rotation from Faze. We saw initially a bit of pressure mounting towards east stairs potentially, but it's now moved to focus to the west. Cameraman playing on Sense, just going to get himself up towards those air conditioning units to play off Archive's window, but needs to be careful because Rogue are on the other side of there. They're aware of his presence, but they're just going to have to drop away as the pressure reconvenes over by the east stairs.
They're on the downstairs again, so I imagine Cyber's down here looking for a couple. Nades have already been used in this case, so maybe not. But here come one of them Sense gadgets straight across there, just cutting off the doorway. One man from Rogue forced back across here, and they must know where the default plant is going down. Yes, they do. A spray through the soft wall finds the man. C4 a bit mistimed afterwards, but it's 2 kills for Souls, who, whilst all this chaos is going on site, has started to clean up. Kanto comes in on the flank and also finds one more.
Big flank from Kanto there, managing to take him down, and the diffuser is put down on the ground again for a second time, this time by Spoit. Souls gets his 3rd of the round, leaves them now in a 2v2, but as you say, they're just waiting for the push to come in here. Kanto knows that the trouble is coming from inside of sight. Deepek in an important position here. He's got the diffuser over his right shoulder and both ahead. He lies in between it and them, and he needs to hold his position, just bide his time. Great trigger discipline from him there, not getting carried away. And I don't think that Faze are aware of his position here, but Souls, he's going to be able to recover this diffuser, I would imagine.
This is the thing. Rogue have committed 2 players to half wall here to spray down the planter when they were going for it just inside of Archive's door. They're out of options. They've got no C4. They've got no cross angle. They're pretty safe in this position. All they need is a bit of cover. Kanto's worked his way back up, and Deepek's found himself one. Goes for the last. It's a quad for Souls, but Deepek clutches up in round 3.
Deepek hits the deck and manages to find that final kill onto Souls, not only denying him the rounders, but also denying him the ace. That had been all Souls in that round, but Deepek there to close him out, and that's going to be round 3 going to Rogue. They find themselves 2-1, and this crowd is waking up.
Were they ever asleep, Tim?
I'm not sure they were.
The last 3 days, I ain't been able to hear myself think. Even when I haven't been gassing, sat backstage, you hear the noise all the way through there. I did touch on in that round about the half-wall play. It's almost like Rogue was saying, right, we'll go 1 for 1 here. We'll get rid of the planter, but we know we're going to lose someone in a trade straight after. I feel FaZe played the right sort of idea there as well by rotating the 3rd man round to try and make the plan happen. But Deepek's just too big in the clutch. Rogue playing a wonderful cross angle as well. Really smart stuff from both teams, but really it's coming down to those big clutch players. In what round can Souls get a 4K and still not win the round?
Well, it bodes well for Rogue in terms of the map, doesn't it, ultimately? If Souls is going to be coming in and putting those sorts of numbers up, and like you say, FaZe still go away empty-handed to a degree, that is going to be a stinger for them, and that's when that experience that we've talked about, you know, these are some of the most experienced players that we've got inside of our game. They're going to need every drop of it to overcome mental challenges like that because, you know, they are not easy to bounce back from. Look at Rogue here as well. Look how aggressive they are, right up on the line of the building here, right up on barricades, doorways, just looking to challenge FaZe before they even get in. And we know that that can be important on border. If you can really prevent the attack gaining momentum inside of the map, that is where rounds can be won and lost.
It's like that with so many maps in the game right now, is that you as the defenders must push out and challenge for as much land as you possibly can. It's something FaZe did really, really well on Oregon yesterday coming up against W7M. They didn't give them an inch of land without first taking a few pot shots. And Rogue are playing exactly the same style. That's why it's these two in the final. But Spoit's the one looking for Cyber. A man that is, he cannot be stopped him. He is possessed. But Kanto finds Cyber, gets the trade and backs away back into sight.
It's big. It's got to be a focus for Rogue after the performances that Cyber has been putting in here. It's got to be a little boost. They don't look at it as which player they've killed. They're looking at operators. They're thinking about utility. They're thinking about positions where the push can't come from anymore. But mentally and just, you know, inside the server, it's got to be a great round for Rogue. Every time they manage to get Cyber taken down at the beginning of it. Now then, Astro going to be working in behind the drone here, but I don't think he's going to be aware of Cryan's position. Obviously using his gadget to the best that he can, just looking to find the fight, but going to dip away for the time being. Just being forced back now, but FaZe not really taking too much of the map.
No, it's hard when someone's constantly taking pot shots at you. You don't feel safe stepping in. Souls finds Kanto, at least this time around. His roaming days are over, but Leon is there again to equalize the numbers. You've got Astro down to a slither of HP, and Leon finishes him off as well. The headshot meaning that damage was redundant before Bullet gets a trade back. Souls a second. What a game he's having so far at 7-2.
All up to Deepek now in the 1v2. We've already seen Spoit get one close down. Can Deepek repeat that performance? Bullet is going to be getting the diffuser down, but not before Souls finds the final kill. And we found ourselves 2-2 on border, and absolutely nothing to separate these two. And I don't just mean that in terms of the score, Des. The performances in the rounds that they've won have been really solid from both of these teams. They are going out and winning rounds. These aren't necessarily rounds that are being lost by anybody, and that just bodes well for us. We're in for a real matchup. I think this could be an absolute brawl today.
It's really whittling things down into 1v1s, 2v2s, like all the rounds have come that close bar the first so far. Just shows that sure, Rogue have realised exactly what kind of game they're playing into here with FaZe on the attack. Bathroom and Teller's going to be the next site that we step into, and Rogue rocking the similar lineup we've seen throughout the entire game so far. The Alibi paired up with the Oryx, the Mute, and the Mozzie again is that big focus on getting out in the map, denying away drones from the attacking team, and trying to almost starve them out of time in these rounds.
Deepek just being caught out a little bit by that barricade that his team had put up across the waiting area. Door, the double door, he had to shoot it out, and it just really gave away his position and where he was pushing from. It was all the information and opportunity that Souls needed to take him down. So we head into round 5 it's going to be, and as you said, Des, Bathroom and Tellers will be the focus. We saw this back in round 2. It was a Rogue win. It's no surprise to see them going back there, but let's not forget it came down to a 1v2 for Spoit, and FaZe were able to get top floor control, be it with limited numbers. They didn't have 4 or 5 up there. It was a 2v2 when Astro dropped down and started thinking about getting that diffuser on the ground, but Rogue need to hold on to Office for a bit longer this time around.
Yeah, they conceded it not so much early on because Kanto was still in Fountain later into the round. Ho, ho, ho. That is nice and early. That's Leon taken off the board by Cyber. Between him and Souls, 13 kills across these first 4 or 5 rounds. Both of them really starting to fly.
I think Rogue just needs to be careful with that early round aggression that they're trying to bring here, Des. That's a couple of times that we've seen that really early kill coming in for FaZe. It's been sort of 50-50 on the entry, but Kanto, he once again manages to step up, gets 1, gets 2, Cryan onto Cameraman leaves us in a 4v2 in a matter of heartbeats.
Faze really thought they had office control there. Deepet was on the hatch and probably should have died to the nade, but managed to get out of dodge. I don't think they were expecting two more to come pouring out of office and just completely shut them down. That's all their top floor pressure gone. There's still two players on site for Rogue. They've learned from previous lessons. Don't abandon the site too early. Keep on holding it. And now with this four-man hold against two, this feels like Rogue should be able to close things up. But Tim, I can't ignore that Souls is still on the board.
Again, one of the top-rated players in the tournament so far here in Berlin. We know his quality, we know his ability. First things first, he's going to send a nade into Fountain. Not going to have any joy there. Maybe a little bit of information that Kanto was playing inside of there, but he's going to dip away. Now then, this is a super common spot. It's a nice move from Kanto, just stepping out, as maybe he just heard the fraction of movement that he would have got from that pin being pulled on the nade. Takes his opportunity, doesn't quite find the kill, but leaves Souls down at about 40 health now, and Faze are really starting to get a little bit tentative in the push here, not wanting to get overly aggressive.
It's being stonewalled out at this point massively. As I said, there's a couple of players holding it up inside of office, ready to trade each other. You've got two playing on site for the exact same reason. For Rogue, it might feel like a lifetime, but all they've got to do is wait this out and see where Faze's push comes from. At the minute, it's definitely into this double door, both players stacking up and looking to come in at the same time, but they're going to have to execute this to perfection, and they've got to move soon. One's Kraut-Orchting, and they've got no idea who's coming at this point, but there comes a big 2K from Cryin. They knew where one man was, but had no idea that Cryin was sat on the diffuser.
Beautiful team play from Rogue there. Cryin and Kanto working together, knowing that the push had to come into office. They knew that, because there's no way in a 2v4 that you get downstairs and get the diffuser down in Bathroom Hotellers when you still are fighting against vertical control. So it had to be step one of utmost priority for Faze, and Cryin and Kanto lean into that beautifully, and Cryin picking up that double kill just to finish things up at the end.
I love that cross view we've got of both teams there as well. Maybe nice. I'm blind, I just haven't seen it before. Deepak support to glory. Leon, teach me IGLing. I won't read that one out loud. No. Let's get into it then. Here we go for the last defensive round for Rogue here up in Armory and Archives. I'm keen to see what Faze change up, because we've seen them have two attempts at this site. They brought Sens in both of those rounds. This one, they appear to be dropping away, with Cameraman instead stepping over to playing on the Jackal. So throughout the majority of these rounds, you have seen things like the Decabi coming out, like the Lion. We've had the Sens in there, we have the Jackal potentially being hovered in for this round, now traded away. But it's just showing they show that respect towards Rogue and want to make sure they have a handle on those roamers, given the Nomad has been banned away.
Deepak going to be heading down underneath, as is Cryin. I did mention in the last round that I'd maybe want to just see a little less early round aggression coming out of Rogue. They do seem to be a little bit deeper into the map here, not quite challenging the windows and barricades. What they really don't want to do here is lose that opening kill again. Cyber has been picking them up very, very easily when they're trying to get confrontational, get aggressive in the first 30, 40 seconds. So this time Rogue managing to survive that period of time, but I definitely like what they're doing downstairs. Playing in and around Workshop, just looking to be underneath the site, forcing Faze to go in and clear them out. There's no way Faze can leave them, because there's Nitros in hand. One in Deepak, one in Cryin's.
Last time round, Cyber did get in below and had to use both nades before he could start tossing them skywards up for the vertical nades above. It feels here with the drones raining in, Faze aren't super interested in trying to challenge the Workshop. Maybe they're trying to look for a more shallow plant here. But it really depends. You've got Cyber trying to kind of hover around here now, actually. He's sort of just sat inside vents, waiting for someone to come trying to push into him. But Faze have already charged their way through. Leon shut down one, and it's Souls. What a guy to find! Leon makes it a second before the nade kill at least shuts down Rogue's spree, and Cryin falls.
That Auda just singing in the hands of Leon. Cyber going to take a chunk of damage. He juices himself back up a bit, but the bullets just keep on coming. They catch him as he goes out of the window. Can't get himself back on his feet. There's the kill confirmed. But meanwhile, there's Cameraman Bullet managed to get themselves inside a site and find a couple of kills, leaving us now 2v2. Cameraman putting the diffuser down, and Rogue not really in a position to stop this immediately. They rush to try and do so, but Deepak just having to fight his way back into sight. Bullet finds one, and this is looking good for Faze as he cuts down the second from the air conditioning window, just cooling down the heater that Rogue had found themselves on, and leveling things out 3-3 at the half. No advantage either way.
I tell you what, I feel for our stats, guys. It's been multi-kill central across these rounds. Every single one, it feels like we're seeing a new 3K or 4K player stepping up. In this round, it was Bullet. Prior ones, we've already seen Souls getting up there as well. Just an absolute bloodbath between both of them. And you sort of come to expect that on a map like Border as well. Generally considered very attacker-leaning. So many soft walls throughout the entire map that you can open up. Just basically lines of sight that extend through the entire map, and you can play them so well as defenders rotate into them. But I still think a 3-3 split. Rogue won't feel too hard done by with 3 rounds on the defense. Now we get to see what they've got in store for us on the attack inside. And I can't help but ignore, at least initially, Tim, Deepek on the Amaru.
Interestingly, he's going to switch away. He's going to be bringing the Dokkaebi instead, which would suggest they're expecting a bit of presence around the map, expecting those roamers to be out there. I think Faze are likely to bring the similar sort of aggression that we've seen Rogue there. They're not going to want to back down from that fight. But interestingly, so far, Des, on the entry battles, we've only had 2 players who have got entry kills in those first 6 rounds, and that is either Cyber or Leon. They've got 3 apiece. It is perfectly balanced. And they are fighting over that early round advantage between them.
Your IGL support player, hard support player, by the way, as your entry. You love to see it. But looking at their lineup here as well, no hard breach required. Often this is a thing for Border, is unless you really want to try and open West Main that just isn't the done thing anymore, there's no point. Bring a better gun. I mean, look how stacked they are. They've got the Mark 14, they've got the LMG, they've got the F2, they've got the FMG, they've got the ARX. All of those guns just pack an absolute punch. And this goes back to something that Leon said a good while ago. Give all your players a big gun, keep them smiling, and just let them frag out.
What a shot coming in from Bullet there, just taking Leon off the rappel and giving Faze that early advantage once again. Let's see how they can fare with it on the defense this time. It's just going to give them a bit more freedom to take fights and to stay in positions that they might not have done otherwise. Cyber sticking around in CCTV, doesn't want to give that up. Crying, we usually see on the knock, he gets into the map a little bit quicker than this does, but he's not rushing in there at the minute. The pressure is still there on Cyber, but he's going absolutely nowhere.
A few bits of chip damage coming into members of Faze as well. Rogue just not quite able to connect onto those headshots, but you saw what I was speaking about with Border, the massively long angles coming in from Break Room all the way through into Armory Archive just gives a real threat from players like Crying, who maybe haven't got the best gun to play at range, but I imagine you'll start seeing moving in soon. Seeing that gadget's active, he's stepping forward, but Spoit goes for another challenge, and yet again, another member of Faze put down to low HP, but not finished off.
No, that's it. They are sort of grinding them down here in the overall battle of HP, but not really getting themselves an advantage in terms of man count. 1 minute 20 left to go. Deepek is going to be fighting on the aircon window, gets shut down at the same time as Crying gets punished by a run out. Spoit shut down after missing shots once again, and it's now 4v1. Kanto Raketti with it all to do. He's been having a real performance so far in Berlin, really rolling back the years there, but he's going to have to roll them a whole way back if he's going to find this 1v4.
He's not going to be able to find that against Bullet. A very comfortable round for Faze. And just looking back at how that round played out, it was like a reverse 3-2-1. We keep on speaking about Rogue's 3-2-1 countdowns before they make a move as a team. It felt like for Faze, that's exactly what they did on the defense. On that 3 count, all push out. 1 coming out through CC. Swings coming in from inside of Office. They just really made Rogue suffer once they started their own movement by responding in kind. Great defensive round from Faze. Bathroom Tellers will be where we head to for round 8.
So we're going to see another one of those fights over Office this time around. It's going to be Faze trying to hold on to it. Last time we saw Kanto and Crying able to really lock this down, and it showed the importance of it, because when they got that man advantage, Faze had no choice but to push in there, and they knew exactly what was going to happen, what was coming. So we will see largely similar this time coming out of Faze instead as they try to hold on. We're just seeing some of the absolutely beautiful shots that we had last time around in that last round. But Rogue, they don't need to be worried just yet, Des. It's 4-3. Faze have got their first choice site locked down on the defense, not the end of the world. Rogue don't want to go too long without finding themselves an attacking round, though. They need an answer.
I'm not going to say worry with Faze, but the thing that I've really enjoyed about them has been, on day 1 of the competition, I thought, man, they feel a little bit slow, a little bit lethargic. They aren't quite moving at the pace we're used to. And the questions coming into playoffs was, and even now into the final, all they've played against really is LATAM teams throughout playoffs. They haven't played against an international team. But what I'm seeing from them so far today, at least, is the same confidence we saw against teams like W7M yesterday. They're going out swinging. They're happy to fight over the map. They're not giving Rogue too much respect and just saying, hey, we can take these guns gunfights were full of confidence today, and they are landing their shots. Seeing the bullets set up, what, 7 and 3, Souls 8 and 4. It's a good day so far for the Faze players.
We just see a little attempt at a combination between the Lion of Deepek and the knock of Crying there, as he tried to send that nade over at the same time as the defender was going to be locked in place, but it just didn't go deep enough, and Souls didn't take the damage. Spike is pushing in here. He knows there's one ahead of him. He's not going to stop to take the Guman out initially, but it will halt his progress eventually, as he knows that the attempt for that challenge was gone. Spray through the soft wall from Astro. Cyber low health as well here, though. Crying takes a lot of damage, but manages to find the kill onto Bullet as the entry, and that is a big start for Rogue.
Massive start, yeah, and that's what you're looking for, really, is to find that initial man. Bullet, who's been fragging out so far. You'll really start to see the finger coming to her own here as well. Juicing, Crying up at least a little bit bad towards half HP. And it's this massive push coming in from the office side, but Astro brings one back on the other side.
4v4 as we move to the halfway point of this. Rogue need to start using this bit of map control that they're gaining.
Oh,
Leon, 2 big shots, a beauty from Leon as he finds Cyber over the top of the metal stairs handrail, leaving us now 3v2. Astro still roaming around underneath, but Rogue are in a position to be able to get the top floor control here, get off this lockdown, and start thinking about getting a diffuser plan.
Don't worry, I heard a wall behind us. It was the Gemini, so we can't spray through the wall, but at least they know where a couple of players are. Leon opening up the wall that we so oftenly seen open up for a plant on this side as well. You do need that vertical controller. The hatch is such a big part of this defense. They've got the top floor. Hatch isn't yet open, and now Kanto is looking to move his way down here. Could be a real good backstab threat onto these members of Faze. What a reverse shot coming out of Leon as Astro took the initial challenge, and there's the classic. Walking into those count-can traps, down goes Leon, but it's still a 2v1.
Rogue should still be able to lock this down. Crying is low health, though. That's definitely something to take note of. They're going to be looking to get themselves that diffuser picked back up, but I think Cameraman is well aware of its presence, so he's just going to be holding a position to try and keep it locked down, but no! Kanto has other ideas. Manages to find the shots into the back of Cameraman, and that's going to lock us up at 4-4.
I've heard that chant a few times over the last couple of days, Tim.
I've got a feeling that we're going to hear it a few more, Des.
What I'm trying to figure out is, should it be Kanto Ricchetti or Lanto Ricchetti?
I think it depends how good his performance is. As he gets better and better, the more times we hear the chant, it's surely got to edge into Lanto Ricchetti.
Didn't realise they were sprayed to the soft wall as well. Big round for Kanto, a player that, when we first saw join the team, had a lot of up and down performances and a lot of rust that he needed to shake off. And one of their first Skyscraper games coming up against BDS, he would often overstay on the roam and just get punished so hard by teams that knew how to pinch into him. But over time, that sort of dropped away. We saw him playing more like a lot of LATAM teams do, where you're willing to step back a little bit after taking the initial challenge and say, okay, then now I'm somewhere else. You've got to re-drone me. I'll just keep on chewing through that information game of yours until you're done for. And he's had performances where some games he's gone like 1 and 10, others where he's dropped like 15+ kills. It's that inconsistency that he needs to try and shake, and having a big game performance like this in the very first map of the Grand Final, that's exactly the kind of confidence you want to start building through maps 2, 3, 4, and potentially even 5.
Definitely. I mean, you mentioned droning there, Des. That's something that Rogue need to make sure they're being careful with. I'm thinking back to that X-Set semi-final. If you remember, there was the missed drone by Leon onto Spirits. They didn't spot him in the corner of Library, and Spirits was able to go on and just absolutely decimate Rogue from there. And that's the sort of mistakes, albeit small, that can really cost you rounds and games here. And in a Grand Final, it doesn't take long for it to run away from you. So Rogue need to be keeping a good eye on that droning, make sure they're on top of it, checking every corner. I'm sure that the lesson will have been learnt.
Well, at least as things start out here, Faze got a couple holding down. Cameraman with a nice shot onto Kanto as well, just doming him off the bathroom window there. That's the kind of start you want to see if you're a Faze fan, not so much so given all the talking we just did about Kanto about 20 seconds ago. Crying's moving in here through the top floor as well. No doubt expects to see a bit of resistance inside of CC or around Fountain. We're so used to seeing that rotate opened up on 90 here to give the defenders a much safer angle back down to get towards sight. Crying's on the prowl here. Does he know about the one? They have no idea. He's coming in 90. Sees the one at the back, but Cyber gets the reverse.
Great comms from Faze there, just to give the position of Crying. Spike gets taken down by Astro, and Faze are working really well together here, playing off the back of each other. Potentially going to see Deepek going on the Amaru, cut down immediately by Souls, leaving us now 4v1. Leon low health, halfway mark. The one thing that he's got going for him is time here, Des, and it really is the only thing. And That gets cut short as well as Astro manages to find the final kill. And FaZe take the lead once again, but narrowly. 5-4 of each other fantastically, covering each other, playing for trades, and just locking this map down. Very difficult for Rogue to move anywhere inside of the walls at the minute.
Let's see how this Bathroom Teller's site goes this time around. We've spoken about this so much already throughout the map, and hopefully this time around they're a little bit more conscious of the Kapkan. Remember us throughout the stage seeing it a couple of times, and in fact Rogue were the exact team that I think back in stage 1 were the first team to die to one of those. They had 2 players pushing in through open area double door on Bank, and it was Cryan and Leon who both died to the same double stack. So now they've seen it once, they've already lost a man to it in the prior round. You imagine they'll be far more attentive on the drones, but the issue is FaZe are going to make that hard. They've got the Mute and the Mozzie on side. They're constantly putting up these obstacles, these mini games for Rogue to work through in each of these rounds before they can even think about the site.
This is, and to be honest, we haven't really seen a point in time yet where Rogue have got towards the end of the clock. The clock really hasn't been a factor. As you say, they're getting tangled up in all these little games, all these little trials along the way. And FaZe are just cutting them down as they do. They just, you know, as soon as their focus is taken, Cryan absolutely destroyed by Cyber through the soft wall. Beautiful headshot. And once again, FaZe with that early advantage.
There's a real lack of attention being shown by Rogue in the opening 30 seconds of these rounds now. I think 3 times we've seen someone taken down from an early bit of aggression onto a window or a soft wall. When they're given a bit more room to breathe, Rogue looks stronger. But you've now lost 2 grenades in Cryan's back pocket, of which they have 8 across the entire round, by the way. So you can see what the game plan was going to be, but that's a massive loss to get inside 30 seconds.
I'm just wondering if there was a little bit of information on that one as well, whether it be from a default cam that wasn't taken quickly enough, or whether it was from one of those Mozzie pests capturing a drone, maybe just left on the edge of a doorway, a barricade, anything that they could just see out onto that balcony to give Cyber that information that Cryan was going to be pushing there. But taking the knockdown 2 nades as well, Des, that is a big loss for Rogue.
It's a bit of a stinger, so now they've got to make do with slightly reduced resources. A couple of bits of chip damage once again coming down onto the members of FaZe, but a C4 coming out onto Spoit. Trades it out with the nade, though, onto another member of the team. So literally playing hot potato there with explosives. It feels like Cyber loses out on the reverse angle to Leon.
Leveling things up now at 3v3, and as I said, time has not really been the issue for Rogue so far. 1 minute 15 left to go, so plenty of it for them to work with. Leon manages to get himself another. That's going to be a good headshot through onto Bullet, and the thing that does now is it starts giving Rogue a little bit of flexibility. 3v2, a minute left on the clock. They've got time to build this execution. Please tell me that he saw Astro. Please tell me that this has not been misdroned. There we go. I'd already, just in the last round, spoken about that drone in from Rogue, and they couldn't let Astro get away with what Spirits did.
Absolutely not, and sure enough, they do turn back round, and Kanto finds his man. Nade's coming singing on through here. Again, it looks like they want to try and go through that right-hand wall that we speak about an awful lot. Just get you just inside of sight by the bookcases so you can get a plant down in the far corner. Now, Souls and Astro, they've got a nice cross angle set up, and again, that's the 2nd round in a row. Leon has died to one of those Kapkan traps. They've got to learn from this, Tim.
Deepex's taking damage there, trying to force his way into sight and get something going, but he can't as Astro cuts him down. 2v1 now. Kanto seriously low health, can't take another bullet, can't take another graze. It's going to be a pistol shot from Astro to close him down. 6-4.
Again, Tim, it's one of those things where it feels like Rogue keep on running into the same tricks and traps coming out from the side of FaZe. If it's not the Kapkan traps, it's the early spawn peaks and aggression on towards soft walls. That's the kind of thing that will cost you rounds. Not forgetting, this is their map pick for FaZe. This is one of their least preferred maps out of the entire pool. Imagine Rogue felt like they had an absolute field day, seeing it was left open, thinking, oh yeah, definitely going to border. We know FaZe aren't great there. Well, currently you're down 6-4. It's not the dream start Rogue we're looking for. Far
from a dream start, I'd have to say. It's a little bit of a worrying start. As you say, border, you know, one of Rogue's picks, and we certainly would have been looking for a positive result from them, but it looks right now like it could be FaZe's map. One more round is going to do the job for them. They sit at 6-4 on the scoreboard. They're going to take us to Armory as well, Des. So they're into their primary site now. And Rogue, as you say, they have to start knuckling down and cutting out those small mistakes, Des. It's easy to miss a Kapkan trap, absolutely. But they can't allow that sort of damage to be done frequently.
Well, Tim, it's a line that you and I say an awful lot in EUL. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So that's what the correction needs to be in the round. A couple of holes being opened up here in the west main wall now. Crying should be more than aware of what kind of shenanigans are going to be coming here. We've seen it far too often. Just those shots through the soft wall. And that's what I'm looking out for in the round, is if Rogue can get by the first 45 seconds without losing anyone, that's a successful start to the round.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very important. If you remember, I said at the end of the first half that it was 3-3 on the entry. Now that we've switched sides, in the last 4 rounds, it's 3-1 in favour of Faze. They've really started to run away with it, and that is what we're talking about. Kanto getting in there with a headshot onto Astro, and that is the start that Rogue needed here in round 11.
Just a little bit more composure being shown here, but East Main is their focus. They've got 3 players all trying to push into the top side of the stairs. And Spoit eyeing up an entry into the break room itself. So a very big East side focus coming out from Rogue. Just screams to me they want to come in through office as Spoit. I speak about these long angles on board an awful lot. Tim's cameraman that gets taken down. There's still one sat inside of CC. Cyber's the man dancing around Fountain and 90. And now Cry's moving in from below. Not taken out early. We could see that classic Crying backstab.
Cyber's been playing in this position every single defensive round so far. They should be aware, maybe getting in for those vertical nades, which is where Cryan might be going, but Leon, he manages to shut down Souls. We now find ourselves 5 versus 2, and Faze, they are truly trying to hold on, but that's one way to hold on. Cyber, he starts to tighten the grip as he gets a headshot onto Cryan, bringing things back in their direction. 2v4, now 1v4 as Spoit gets the kill onto Bullet, and the site is Rogues. They can get that diffuser down. That's exactly what Leon is going to do here. These rounds flying by. There's still a minute 15 left on the clock.
Still looking for Cyber as well, and they know where he is. He's taken his initial challenge there. That surprise element is gone. They know that he's buried in towards East Stairs here. They've got one nice side angle, but it's Spoit inside a break. A very convincing round from Rogue.
Now it looks like they're going to be doubling down.
I believe at this point they've still got a timeout if they opted to use it as well, but by the looks they're going to continue on. Press on into round 12. Still convinced that they have the answer here. As I believe we're stepping back into the same site, Tim. It's Armory Archives once again. And look at the difference from Rogue. They took things a little bit slower. They stacked players out towards the east side of the map. They played those longer angles that I keep on speaking about that you can find through the break room door, through the window inside a waiting area, and just look to challenge at distance as Faze got a little bit jittery and didn't want to sit on their laurels for too much longer. It was much more composed by Rogue. That slower gameplay seems to be the way to get through these Faze aggressive plays.
It's all about keeping those players alive in the early round. As we've said, we know on board that attackers getting inside of the map is a big step in winning rounds. Once they're inside of the map, they will quite often come away with the win, and that's something that Rogue haven't been doing fantastically well. They've been giving those kills up before they get to that point. So just taking it a little bit slower, as you say, taking their foot off the gas, just being careful with how they go about approaching the building and pushing for that inside step has done them wonders. Cyber going to step out of CCTV. As I said previously, they should know that Cyber's going to be playing in CCTV. I'd like to see Rogue get themselves into customs, try some vertical nades, get him forced out.
But that's the problem. It's so easy to say, just nade him out, just force him away.
Just go nade him. What's the problem?
He'll dance around your nades all day and around your bullets as well, and just keep on holding that area of ground. And it's one thing Faze were great at yesterday against W7M. Whenever W7M stopped watching a certain part of the map, they'd find a way to get one of their players back into that little crevice to sneak back through and retake that part of the map and start playing and using verticals against the attackers once they thought they already had things cleared out. And it forced W7M into going very direct towards site, whereas Rogue here still want to play the map, but feel very, very happy playing a much slower game, just letting Faze play into your hands rather than you playing into theirs.
First minute has passed and Rogue have still got everybody on the board, so that is a big positive for them. Spoit now inside of the map as well, Leon joining him, and as I say, that top floor clearance now starts to begin and the pressure will mount on the defenders. They need to consider whether they deal with cameraman on the underneath or whether they just leave him out in the cold, looking to plant elsewhere and not giving him the opportunity for the nitro. I like this from Cryan. He's got an angle onto cameraman there. He's going to be holding him at bay, not allowing him to push onto the flank.
Again, it's this big, massive east side focus. It worked. If it works once, don't try and fix it. You've got the right idea here, boys, with 2 or 3 players from Faze playing hard out towards the west side. They're expecting a backstab of some kind to come through, which is very smart given how Rogue have played this, but there is no Nook on side. Cryan's on the Zofia, so backstabbing isn't really into their game plan here. Spoit charges forward and finds the entry at the 1 minute 10 mark. That just goes to show how much slower these rounds are being played by Rogue.
Spoit's going to be taken down, though, in a late trade from Astro there. 4v4 tower, and Rogue just dipping out of the window of Office, giving up ground that they had already taken. Crying just losing a little bit of HP on the underneath as well in the fight with Cameraman, who has come away pretty well from that one. Kanto does keep his position inside of Office. He's been reinforced by Leon, who moves back into the map there. 40 seconds left to go. Leon gets himself one onto Cyber, and that could be the catalyst for Rogue.
But do they know about the player on main stairs? Cameraman can come darting up here and play back through that rotation. Now they do, because Deepek's in him on a drone. Good read and good composure as well to not get excited at a couple of kills. They've still got back on the drones. They're still looking for information, and Kanto's the one going hunting. Crying finds a second. We're 2 kills away from overtime at this point. One man inside a sandwich, the last one left standing. Rogue are sending us through to overtime.
6-6 we end in regulation, and Rogue are not done with Border yet, and they are not done with Faze Clan yet, as we are going to have another 3 rounds ahead of us to decide who takes the first map.
So back and forth from start to finish. It's what you want to see, Tim. And at this point, it's hard to call how this one ends.
It's exactly what I want to see, you want to see, and it's exactly what everybody here in Berlin wants to see. You can hear them behind us just going absolutely wild. Now Rogue have got themselves back into this one, and we just get to do even more of it.
Rogue get to start on the defense here as well, with Faze calling in a quick timeout. They want that 45 seconds to have a conversation. I thought maybe you'd see that after round 11 rather than round 12, but they know there are some things that need to be course corrected.
Into real time, into the server, and into round 13. We're going to have Rogue holding on to Bathroom and tell us how did they do on their first defensive rotation here. Round 2, it was a Rogue win. Round 5, it was a Rogue win. So we've got a 100% success rate for them so far on this site. If you remember the second time in round 5, Des, it was when Rogue were just really able to hold on to that top floor. Spoit 1v2 was the first time that they tried to take it. They got it over the line, but it was tight. You can't rely on those sorts of rounds, but the second was much, much better. It came on the back of a couple of early kills, and like I say, for me, Rogue, give yourself the opportunity to get those kills. Don't get over-aggressive in the first 30 seconds, because they've been punished for it.
It's a real throwback here, because Cameraman's playing on that Flores. We saw that back in the earlier rounds in the game, just to help collect up the one shield that was on side for Rogue. This time round there are 2, and they've got to worry about trying to burn their way through mute jammers. But the beauty, of course, with drones, plenty of drone holes around the map, so you haven't got to worry about bottlenecks on doorways, for example. There are a lot of ways into this map via drone holes where you might be able to find some cheeky little angles to get rid of those shields.
Cyber going to be opening up the main door there as Cameraman starts sending in the Rotero drones, just doing a little bit of that early work, get some information, take out some utility. Certainly sent it a long way through to get the deployable shield, but the job will be done just a little bit safer than sending it in through that teller's window where it may well be being watched. Top floor clearance is still going to need to begin for Faces. Cyber taking some damage there as he's just looking for pot shots through the barricade, doesn't find anything onto Spoit, who's able to step in and out of the rapid fire of that LMG to take half health from Cyberman.
That's the real beauty, is Cyber now to keep on stacking his way up as well, going through those nanobot stims to get himself back to near full HP. So although you feel like, okay, well, he's healed it all back up, sure, but you've lost 2 of those stims, which could be such big gadgets for you. There's the second one. You may well see the third come through immediately after to get him back up to full HP as well. Then all things have reset, and you've chewed through 3 of those juices.
Really important point of the round now as the clearance starts to begin for Faze. The next few gunfights are critical for Rogue if they want to hold on to this defense. They need to be able to stop that push from the CCTV side coming across and claiming control of Office. Kanto, he's got himself still positioned on the upstairs. Astro is going to be drawn in around. Doesn't see anybody inside of Archives, which may just give Faze that confidence to start pushing forward here. Kanto watching the long angle through, though, from Fountain. Going to have the opener from Souls, but Spoit manages to find Cyber. 1 minute left to go, and still no top floor control for Astro and the rest of Faze.
Faze have slowed their gain down here as well. They're doing exactly the same thing that Rogue did. My only nervousness is it doesn't really feel like they're getting tons of control of the map, and you've still got a roamer or 2 out and about for Rogue here. Bringing down Kanto is a great way to start slowing that down, but I'm keeping my eye on Spoit, who's still playing around the main areas of the map. Faze have found 2, though. That's the sort of thing they're looking for here. Just 2 left standing, 1 on site, 1 off. Can they get through them, Tim?
A complete flip reverse of the last time that we saw them attack this site, and most importantly, they've got the vertical control. Souls is in there, opening up those vertical angles. They're not too worried about catching defenders here. All they want to do is ensure that they force them them away so that they can get into a position to plant Astro, taking a lot of damage from Crying on the underneath there. Challenges again, gets the kill, but it doesn't matter because Souls has gone in to get into a position to find that trade. Cameraman is going to be able to put the diffuser down. Spoik decides to head up to the top floor, try to retake the vertical, which he is able to do, but with the position that he is in, it's going to be difficult for him to use this. The diffuser is down just outside of the window, and that's going to be cut down as he tries to go on the jump out to find one on the rappel. He does find him, but he doesn't get the kill.
Two really critical gunfights from Faze in the middle of that round as well. The 4v4, it looked like Rogue were holding on so well. That clock running down into the last 60 seconds, for example. Faze not really feeling like they were getting too much control, but Rogue went for a couple of gunfights, and we keep on saying, attackers at the minute, pretty oppressive. Got bigger guns than you, got the Finger Stim. Came back to bite them a little bit. Down in the 4v2, Faze can do enough to get a plant just inside the window and then back out on the rappel. From that point, it felt like there was no real opportunity for Spoik to be able to drag his team back into it. Faze 1 round away from taking map number 1. Rogue, though, switching onto the attacking side, have commended them a couple of times on their slower gameplay that has really rewarded them. Is it enough, though, or have Faze found the answer in that timeout that we saw after round 12?
This is going to be the third opportunity now for Faze to be able to close this one out. They had 2 chances in regulation at the map point, were unsuccessful in closing it out. They're going to give it one more try. They're going to get a guaranteed 2 attempts, Des, because if Rogue, of course, get this round, Faze will still be able to win it in round 15. It's going to be ventilation that Faze decide to hold on to. Immediate presence upstairs. I imagine we're going to see Cyber in CCTV as we have done previously. We've got the Legion of Cameraman just underneath, I think looking to provide a little bit of protection down there as Cyber does indeed move into his default position. And there's also a bit of utility and presence inside of Armory and Archives as well. This is quite an extended hold from Faze Clan.
I think Cameraman's playing in, or he was almost playing in basically the same position that we saw Spoik, but now that he's reinforced, barricaded off the doorway inside of Supply, and has got out of dodge, moved his way up towards Bathroom and Teller. So a small bit of movement around. I love this, by the way, the Prisma trick that they've done. Exactly the same thing Rogue have done to a few teams this week as well. So really just trying to irritate Rogue in reverse here and just keep that constant flag, the constant worry that someone's coming out of a window and you have very little idea about it.
Cyber again still in his position. He's shown us an ability to play there, but Kanto, as I said, just being able to predict because it's been done time and time again. Crying Kanto managed to get back-to-back kills. Headshot takes down Astro, and we are all of a sudden once again in a flurry of action, finding ourselves in a 5v2 for Rogue.
It's an exact mirror of the last round, just far earlier. Rogue have found those 2 kills in the mid-round they were looking for to give them positional advantage. They know Cameraman's on main stairs. They've heard the shots come through, but they're already starting to square up. They've got one looking on towards Vent's window in Deepek. Souls off in Narnia at this point, Tim, is the other side of the map out towards East Stairs. So maybe it's a retake the 2 of them are looking to come for as a collective. And Rogue, still not 100% sure where those 2 are. Could be looking to hit the site any second.
They've got everything they need to put the diffuser down here, Rogue. They're in a 4 versus 2. They had top floor control, but they might just have given that back up as Cameraman looks to move across through into Armory. Souls does drop away for the time being, but this gives Faze something to work with at least.
I love what they're doing as well. They haven't panicked and gone for a real aggressive push here and gone fast. They've taken their time to get back on drones, get back on information, and find out what's going on. Get your flank drone set up and then go for the play. They're in for the plant, and they know there's one more man left. He did get a second kill, but Spoik finds him. Tim, this time I'll say it, we're going all the way to 15.
We really are, and this match is stacking up to be a potential classic here, as we're going to see every little bit of the first map inside the venue, but just the pleasure of meeting everybody that we've been able to. It's, you know, it is, as I say, one of the best parts of the event for us to have the opportunity to interact with you guys, so thank you everybody who's here. But we're going to be getting back into things as soon as we can. We're just getting a little issue just ironed out. We're going to have a look at some of the replays coming in there, as that was a big round 14 for Rogue to claim, giving them the opportunity now to take this. And the thing is, there's probably a team in X sat there somewhere saying, you need to be careful here, Faze, because Rogue will do this.
Up to start things off.
All right, well, I think there's only one question for us to ask, Des, and that's, does everybody want to get into round 15? Do you want to get into round 15?
I don't know, actually, Tim.
No?
I could stay outside of it for a little bit longer. I'm kidding, we're back into round 15. game's back underway. Faze on the defense, Rogue on the attacking side. It's been a real back and forth game so far, but only one can walk away the winner after this round. And I know exactly who the audience wants that to be. Just in case you're in any doubt,
Just in case anybody at home was wondering who the crowd was behind for round 15. You can hear the chants in the background there. And we're going to see if that energy transfer can come in that will push Rogue over the line. It's going to be, as you say, bathroom tellers. It is Faze on the defense again. And they're going to be trying to lock down that bottom floor. But as we've seen so far, Des, I think pretty much every time this site has been held so far, it has come down to that vertical play. So again, Faze need the office. They need the fountain presence. How are they going to deal, though? And I'm not sure that they've dealt with it fantastically well so far, with Rogue reducing the pace.
That's a saucy spot. The Yokai drone straight up top. I think he lost it out there because it was outside the map for more than 10 seconds as well.
Couldn't get back in.
Unlucky, I suppose.
It is. But yeah,
not bad. I appreciate the attempt.
As I say, I'm not sure Faze have dealt that fantastically well with the pace being slowed down here. You know, they were going really well when Rogue were getting aggressive, giving them those opportunities in the first 30 seconds. But Rogue certainly seemed to have recognised that was something Faze were excelling at, and they've just taken away the opportunity. Look at this one, Crying, just holding such a long angle there, not engaging them at close range too soon. And Faze, I'm not sure are liking that too much.
I like again how we're seeing Rogue leaning into Crime playing on the Zofia. Nook has been his go-to operator on attack for what feels like the longest time now. And he'll always be the lurker, the backstabber on the team looking to come in with a flank later in the round. But on the Zofia, it feels like it's more about flank watch. It feels like it's more about playing around the team itself. So I don't think you'll see him off in isolation playing on that Zofia, which could spell trouble for Faze.
Astro just watching on his remaining Yokai drone there, again using it more for information than anything else. If it's alive in the late round, he may well look to just deny any diffuser plant attempt, but for the time being, just looking to spot any of the Rogue attackers. Rogue have got themselves established inside of Armory. Spoit is able to start working across, and by the glory of the silhouettes that we have, the privilege that we've got to see where everybody is on this beautiful top down, we can see there's actually nobody inside of Office and Fountain. Faze have decided to give that up and just electrify the hatch instead. But the question is, can Rogue deal with this? They don't have a Maverick on side, and it's not going to be easy for them to clear that electrical off. It's going to be a key. I think the Twitch drone has just done it. Deepek takes out the electrical, and that might just give them the opportunity to open that hatch and have the vertical control that they want.
I've been watching those C4s in the back pockets of Faze as well. They had 3. One did get pulled out by Cyber about 20 seconds ago, but didn't find the man. Those are the 2, I'm sure. They're trying to look into those either for denial, like we saw Spoit try in an earlier round, or to try and catch them when they're on the upstairs. But they've got to be so well placed. That's where things like the Yokais can really help on that front. But a bit of information gathering once again. Kanto repeatedly making use of that Iana gadget to find out exactly what's going on and feeding that through to the rest of the team.
Cyber's looking to get aggressive on detention. Whoa, but he's going to be shut down by Spoit. There's a second challenge coming, though, and that is going to be the trade as Bullet manages to step up. Soulswine's Crying at the same time. Rogue have the vertical advantage, but Faze have never played as if they wanted to defend it. So they are set ready for the onslaught that might come from Rogue. They're actually playing deeper, back in Workshop. They're almost inviting Rogue in, where they're then going to challenge the long angles.
Might be a retake here as well. There are 3 players from Faze off site at this point, and Leon's in and trying to make the plant happen. In comes the Yokai, but will it get there in time? No, it misses it, and they manage to stick the plant. But can they now hold on? 2 inside a bathroom. I'm not sure where the third man's disappeared to, but Faze are starting to converge.
First kill needs to go to Rogue here. They don't want to find themselves in a 2v4, but Faze, they are taking their time about this. They get one, but Kanto's there for an immediate trade. 1v3 though, cut down, and that is going to be Faze able to disable the activated diffuser. They take round 15, they take map 1, border is theirs.